stop to play Safeway's $1 million Score and Win. If any Flames player scores 5 times in tonight's game, Jana White of Airdrie could win $1 million. Shop and swipe at Safeway. You could be our next lucky winner right here on Sportsnet. The only visit of the season for the New York Rangers to Calgary. The Flames and Rangers are all set for period 1. Let's go to Rob Kerr and Charlie Simmer.
Roger Millions, thank you so much. As the Rangers begin a 4-game Western road swing of the Calgary Flames, finish up a 3-game homestand. Let's take a look at our starting goalies, brought to you by Intact Insurance. Your home, your auto, your business. Ask your broker about Intact Insurance Company. In the span of 5 days last week, Henrik Lundqvist became the Rangers' all-time wins leader with his 302nd victory and the all-time shutout leader for the franchise with his 50th blanking. He did that in New Jersey. Kali Ramo continues to add to his career numbers this season. Since returning from injury, Ramo has given up just 5 goals on 93 shots. And Curtis Glencross had a goal and an assist the last 2 times these teams met back in December 15th, as a matter of fact, Madison Square Gardens. He was just coming back from his first injury, and he has been playing very well since missing 29 games with the ankle injury. Is Calgary trying to bounce back into the win column, and that has not been a problem for the Rangers of late. They come into this game having won their last 5 in a row. And we're underway as Hoodler gets it across the line. Anton Strawman gets checked. Puck comes to Glencross, and that one's off the body of Strawman, picked up. And here come the Rangers out to center. Richards across the line. Has Pouliot behind him, goes in front. Ramo makes the stop. Puck bounces around. Pouliot looking for it. Flames get it, and it's onto the stick of Glencross.
Rangers like to start quickly. They have a very quick team, and as you mentioned, with that winning streak and the games they've played as of late, they're feeling pretty good about themselves. And with that road record, 23 wins already this year, they feel quite comfortable no matter which building they're playing in.
Rangers started off the season with 9 games away from Madison Square Gardens. They went 3-6. Since then, they have been road warriors. Let's take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by Budweiser. Great games are waiting.
For the Flames, if you're playing against a guy they call the king, that must mean you're pretty good. And to beat him, you've got to make sure that you get a crowd in the crease. You really have to block his sight as the puck comes in. And for the Rangers, we just talked about it, they're such great road warriors. They should try to continue the same style of play they've gotten in here the last second half of the season.
Rangers have won 23 away from home. Only St. Louis, who has won 24 on the road, has more wins. Mark Giordano back to pick it up. He'll go cross ice. TJ Brody finds Backman, tipping it. Camilleri gives chase, gets to the puck. His shot goes up, then over onto the glass, picked up by Backman, trying to play it back out in front. And Derek Stepan is there for the Rangers. Camilleri bumping with Girardi. Speaking of bumping, Byron knocking Rick Nash down. Long shot from Camilleri over top of the net. Rick Nash looks a little dazed after he got bowled over by Paul Byron. Stays out there. Puck comes back to the point. Giordano. Long shot. Lundqvist makes his first save of this game as it comes back to the Flames captain looking for a lane. That one goes off Joe Colborne and wide. And the Rangers get it. Stepan will play it off the glass and out. Brody back to pick it up.
Well, as much as we talked about the Rangers feeling very comfortable on the road, how good have the Flames been at home as of late? So they're feeling good about their home game.
Zuccarello's shot grabbed by Kari Ramo. He'll hang on to that. JT Miller parked in front of him.
And one way they do it is utilizing their skating ability, and that's getting in on the forecheck. This was a broken play at this point as the Mike Camilleri shot was deflected, and then the Flames just keep the pressure on, moving back and forth. 2 men around the puck at all times. Byron comes in to help out as the safety man, and he's the guy that throws the big check and keeps the puck in play.
Miller watched in the corner by Schmid. Derek Brassard being worked over by Tyler Wotherspoon. Now the puck dug free, but Monahan there for Calgary. Diaz tied up with Joe Colborne. Wotherspoon just plays it back to the boards, and it's Rafael Diaz at the point. His shot blocked by Monahan. And that one goes off the mesh. Another face-off coming up in the Calgary end.
Sean Monahan, reluctantly, and probably not on purpose, this one, he went off his shin pad, which was fortunate, though you get into the shooting lanes, and as a young man, only 19, learning both ends of the rink, and Bob Hartley talked about that also about the young Monahan, how he continues to improve defensively, which is something I think everybody knows how much offensive potential he has. With these young players, experience in the defensive zone really can help them in their career.
Also talking today, felt that Monahan wasn't letting the lack of goal production in the last couple of games get to him. Didn't seem to be bothered by it. As Strawman playing it up to big Brian Boyle. Cross ice. Dorsett has to come back for it. Whips it to the blue line, and Butler is there. Second in the National Hockey League in block shots is Chris Butler. But he has a couple of teammates also up high on that list. Schmid's 5th in the NHL and Russell 6th. And we got a penalty coming up. And not surprising, Dorsett's going as he got tied up with Butler. And Dorsett, amongst the penalty minute leaders in the National Hockey League while he was in Columbus and even in his time with the New York Rangers.
Trying to get something going for his team, a fourth line energy line that Alain Vigneault has talked quite a bit about as of the last couple games, so they get things going, and he gets in very aggressive, a little bit too aggressive, a little slash across the hands of Butler, and then has a couple yaps back and forth. Of course, big Brian McGrattan comes in and to settle things down, just sort of wades through the crowd, and then things get settled down.
You mean Brian McGrattan, goal scorer? Picked up a goal against Anaheim for his 4th on the season, a new career high for number 16 for Calgary as the Flames go out in the power play. Had a late one against Anaheim, 0 for 1 against the Ducks. 12th time this year, Charlie, that Calgary's had 1 or fewer power plays in a game.
Bob Hartley has made comments about that. And the first question is, well, what about the officiating? And there's really no problem with the officiating. What he has with his club is that they have to find ways to generate penalties, and that usually involves skating, getting yourself in the open, taking those hooking and holding calls.
Backlund turns, fires, it goes wide. Russell pinching in. Waiting for it is Ryan McDonough. Gets it to Girardi. Up ahead, Carl Hagelin finds some empty real estate. He'll dump it down the ice.
Penalty killing of the Rangers, no different than any other club. They're not afraid to use some of their good offensive players, so that puts a little bit of a scoring threat in defensively against the Flames. But for the Flames to set up precedent here on a power play, they have to find some way to develop shots at the net early in the power play.
Strawman playing it over, looking for Marty St. Louis. And Dominic Moore is out there. A couple of teammates in Tampa Bay a couple seasons back. Brody turns. Here comes Yuri Hudler up the gut to the boards. Joe Colborne whipping it in. Nash is out to get it. Russell back over to Glenn Cross. Colborne can't keep it in. Just 26 seconds to go in Calgary's power play. Rangers' 4th best road penalty kill in the NHL. Colborne back to Glenn Cross with traffic. Shoots! And they wave it off. Side of the net. Colborne scores! It took a while, but Calgary cashed in on the man advantage.
I think you can get credit for both almost. This one from Glenn Cross, it may not have gone in, but it's close to going in without it going in. And the referee very quickly waves it off, but the presence of the players to keep focused. Right here's a good hard shot right at the junction of the crossbar and the post and comes straight back down, but the Flames stay on with the pressure. Nobody takes Glenn Cross as he just walks right to a very good scoring opportunity. There's the loose puck, bounces through, and then Joe Colborne is where he's supposed to drive hard to the net. TJ Brody's down low as they make sure that their defensemen come in on a power play, and the Flames have themselves a lead.
Joe Colborne picks up his 10th goal of the year, his 2nd goal in the last 3 games. And if it stands as a power play goal, it's his first power play goal as a member of the Flames. And to your point, they stayed with the puck. And Colborne really starting to become dangerous down in that right slot area. So for the first time in the last 8 games, Calgary scores the first goal. This one's tipped out down the ice, and it's going to be an icing call against the Flames. Our first goal of the game, and on behalf of the Safeway Score and Win contest and Kellogg's Cereal, Patricia Herbert of Red Deer has won the Troy-built mower and trimmer.
Really surprising to hear that this is just the first power play goal for Joe Colborne. There will be a lot more in his career, especially the way he has been working on his game along with the coaching staff of the Flames. Direction to the front of net.
Richards slides it over, and that one into the glove of Kari Ramo as Rafael Diaz got all of it, and Ramo was right in position.
Ramo, as we mentioned, just giving up 5 goals in his last 3 starts. 2-1-0. The only blimp was that game against San Jose where Flames, I should say Anaheim, came back. Flames really had great opportunities at the end of that game with the goalie pulled. But Hiller really did well for the Ducks after that last stop. He definitely wanted to redeem himself against the Flames.
Puck comes out. Carl Hagelin can't find it for the Rangers. Flames have it. Here's Matt Stajan. He'll drop it off. Glenn Cross. Down the left side. Taken to the boards by Kevin Klein. Puck comes back up high. Chris Butler. His shot tipped on the way through by Stajan, but Lundqvist made the save. And the Rangers able to clear the zone. Russell back to get it. Up to Glenn Cross. Butler tipping it ahead. Rudler waves at it, won't get to it, and Ryan McDonough back to pick it up. McDonough's red hot. 7 points in his last 5 games for the Rangers. 6 goals in the month of March for New York from the blue liner. Calgary unable to get it out. Comes back to Girardi. Over to McDonough. His shot makes it all the way through to Ramo. Al Byron. Again, Flames can't get it out. Rangers keeping it in. Nash going to the front of the net. Comes back to the point. McDonough battling with Stajan. And it's big Rick Nash down low. He'll go back to the point. Girardi loads up. This rattles around. Nash in front. St. Louis scores! Marty St. Louis, 13th game as a Ranger, and he gets his first goal for New York.
And why not against the Flames, right? Who's made a career out of scoring some big-time goals against the Flames when he's with Tampa. And this one is a bouncing puck for half the shift as they move it around. Good hard shot back behind the net. St. Louis stands up right in front. A lot of red jersey around him. This just catches a piece of his stick, as you can see both Byron and Schmid get in very hard on him, and it has the no look right between the pads of Kari Ramo. Not the velocity of it. And they were going to review it because of the kicking motion.
Well, we'll take a look at it as Marty St. Louis looking for his first as a Ranger, but 30th of the season.
Very hard direct pass coming out front. The foot is turned, but it's a matter of if there was a kicking motion towards the net.
That looks like a kicking motion, doesn't it?
A little bit of a movement right there as he turns. If he plants his foot when he's turning, that's okay, but he takes it off the ice, and then you can see a little bit of a push with that ankle. And at first I thought it went off his stick. I know with the coverage down in front, it might have hit his stick and went in, but right there you can see him turn that foot, take it off the ice, and that's where that little bit of emotion, and it doesn't have to be much, but it's still, it's a matter of how the officials will look at that.
So right now, Mike Lego, I believe, is the official who's in consultation with the office in the National Hockey League's headquarters in Toronto, and here's the announcement. And they wave it off. A kicking motion, no goal. So with all of that said, Marty St. Louis does not have his first goal as a member of the New York Rangers.
Big break there for the Flames. And again, you look at that, the coverage that was around both Byron and Schmid. You knew it had to hit either the stick, and it was quite obvious we saw there, it went off the skate as he turned his foot. And the Flames still retain their 1-0 lead.
We'll see how both teams react. Calgary was hemmed in by the Rangers. A couple of opportunities to clear the zone, weren't able to do it, and then the scoring chance for the Rangers, but a mulligan perhaps. Now behind the net, Boyle for New York. He'll flip it up and over top of Schmid. Dorsett getting tied up with the big Flames defender, and now Dorsett complaining to the official he was interfered with.
This period brought to you by the all-new Toyota Highlander. One look and you'll want to know more.
Bob Hartley yesterday, Charlie, ending practice real early. Just got started, didn't like the focus, sent the team off.
Bob's a guy that really does a lot of thinking out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't a planned scenario. Flames feeling really good about themselves, how hard they've been playing as of late, but sometimes it's good to set them back just a little bit, just to let them know that there's still a lot of work to be accomplished the rest of the year.
Hartley, talking to the media this week, said that their number one goal was to make the playoffs, so the fact that they're not going there, they failed to do that. And he doesn't want his team to forget that. On the other hand, the other objective they had this year is they wanted to become known as a hard-working team, and I think you can put a check mark beside that box.
Not too many boxes that they had probably established at the beginning of the year that you cannot put a check on that.
Zuccarello trying to get a shot through, and Glencross immediately letting everybody know that it came up high. Butler looks like he's okay. 1-0 Calgary.
Since being acquired, a kicking motion ruled no goal here moments ago, but he is familiar with scoring at Scotiabank Saddledome 2004. Game 6, double overtime, beating Mika Kiprasov, sending it back to Tampa for game number 7. Oh, we remember that well, do we not?
Yes, double overtime. There was a lot of expectation that night. Hard to believe that's 10 years ago.
It's close to a decade, isn't it?
That's very close to a decade.
Definitely the Flame fans talking about the goal that was not allowed in Game 6.
You mean Marty Jelena in the third period?
But checking in today's evidence, definitely had crossed the line.
Tyler Wotherspoon in the corner, tied up by Miller. Zuccarello comes in. He's watched by Monahan, then knocked down by Monahan. Comes back to the point. Girardi blocked. Eddie Agostino back in the lineup. He sat out the game against the Anaheim Ducks. Bob Hartley quick to point out. Just wanted him to do a little off-ice training, kind of get caught up to speed. He was coming back in, and he's out there tonight again with Monahan and Colborne. Puck goes to the front of the net, bounces around. Where is it? Ramos down, and it squeezes free. The Flames dodge another bullet. Girardi, that one's blocked. And this time Ramo finds it. Schmid knocked down on the play. And Kari Ramo is becoming somewhat of a boardwalk magician the way he pulls these pucks out of seemingly nowhere.
Great leg strength, and I think this really answers, especially the last couple games where you've seen great examples of this, how strong that repaired knee is. He's staying right in there, holding that pad away from the goal line, keeping that puck out as this one just slips by the post at that point, and then as the play continues, able to get himself refocused and in the proper position to come up with another big save.
Benoit Pouliot looking for the puck for the Rangers. Anton Strawman pinching in. Glencross is there. All kinds of white uniforms along the boards, making it difficult for the Flames to clear. Glencross down, kicks it to Stage, and puck comes back and out. And Carl Hagelin retreats to pick up the puck. To Pouliot. Pass taken away by Glencross, but it goes off a skate, and again the Rangers able to keep it in. Richards after it. Early on, New York's done an excellent job of keeping Calgary hemmed in their end. Richards going to go back to the point. It works. Mark Stahl's shot kicked out by Butler. Hoodler's there. He buys some time, finds Glencross, and the safety valve, number 20 for Calgary, hits the red line and flips it in. Calgary able to make a change.
You can see how much pressure the Rangers have been throwing on the Flames, and that's why it's imperative if they do have an opportunity to clear that puck across the blue line, that forces them to take away all that speed and momentum moving forward.
Nash to the front of the net. St. Louis tied up with Brody. Puck comes back. McDonough walks the line, shot in traffic, and again, a very busy Kari Ramo has the puck. 1-0 Calgary. It's TELUS Flames hockey.
Bud McKaig Award honors 2 Calgary Flames personnel, a player and staff member who exemplify Mr. McKaig's virtues of respect, courtesy, and compassion for all individuals. Matt Stajan was the player. Mark Loest, of course, was a staff member. A big evening, and certainly a very big honor for Matt Stajan tonight.
Well, it means a lot. I think anytime you get recognized by your peers, the people you come to the rink with every day, and people in the whole organization, it means something. And as a player, you try and come to the rink and give it your all every day. But off the ice, you know, I just try and be a good person, and you know, this whole organization has been great from day one.
Matt Stajan, prestigious award, and also want to pass along our congratulations to both Matt and Mark Leos, the Director of Services for the Calgary Flames. I can't think of two finer gentlemen to win that award than the two that won it this year.
Great award, and it just goes to show how much work the players and staff work here in the city of Calgary to make it a better place.
Here's Michael Backlund, tied up by Stepan. Backlund working below the goal line. Back and forth, Backlund and Stepan go now. Diaz comes into the picture. Here's Mike Camilleri chasing after it for Calgary. To the point, Giordano. His shot tipped on the way through. Backlund waved at it. Lundqvist got it. Nash ahead. St. Louis trying to get around Giordano. Here's Rick Nash. Tied up. Bounces behind Giordano. Picked up by TJ Brodie. Brodie buys a little time. Calgary's first goal on the power play. Joe Colborne is 10th from Glenn Cross. TJ Brodie has been given an assist as well on that goal. Brodie's 24th assist of the year. Miller across the line. Zuccarello back to Miller. Joe Colborne was there. Sharp angled shot, and Ramo will just steer it to the boards. Girardi to Miller. Shoots. That one's up high, and again it comes back to Miller. Rebound put wide. As Connor Ramo kept the puck in play, but it came right back to JT Miller.
Ramo not making the save, but instead this time redirecting it, thinking he's going to get it out of trouble. He put it right back to the guy that started the play. Lots of support, Rangers with each other as far as that shot on net. There's the kick to the side with that puck off of Russell's skate right back to Miller, who took another good shot, who missed the net, so they were very fortunate at that point.
Kevin Westgard and Dorsett exchanging pleasantries off the face-off. Brian McGrattan also in the area. Lundqvist nearly gives it away to McGrattan. It comes back to Brian McGrattan. Played his 300th NHL game on Wednesday. Westgarth tries to play it in front. Dominic Moore reverses it back to Stahl. He gets it out, and Dorsett has it. Working on Wotherspoon. He'll hold up, shot towards the net, kicked away easily by Ramo. There's Dorsett to Dominic Moore. Moore turns, his shot goes off Dorsett, he gets it back. Schmid knocking Moore down. Puck comes back to the point. Stralman is there. To Stahl, loads up, and that one goes wide. Say what you will, but Derek Dorsett is engaged in this game. Comes over, catches a piece of Schmid. Schmid doesn't like it, thought he was aiming for the head. Referee right there said nope, it was the shoulder.
Very close shot at the upper body. He said the referee standing right there, and that's what the fourth line for the Rangers have been doing for Alain Vigneault as of late. Picked up a couple big goals in the last couple games, and they're really going to need that kind of energy and that kind of physical play, especially if the first round of the playoffs start tomorrow where they face the Flyers.
Brodie to Glenn Cross to Brodie, and that one's stopped by Lundqvist. Back to the point, and Matt Stajan dribbled one towards the net. Rangers unable to get it out the first opportunity. Now Hudler finds Butler off the bench. He'll play it below the goal line. McDonough tied up, finds Richards. Here's Girardi back onto Richards' stick. Over, and Hagelin will tip it in. Russell gets there before Brad Richards can, and Butler has it. He'll squeeze it ahead to Glenn Cross. Backlund out there as well. Glenn Cross wants to head off, so he'll flip it into the corner. McDonough nearly gave it away to Backlund. Girardi has it back over to Ryan McDonough. He feels a little pressure. Mike Camilleri was in his grill. Pop back out to center, over the stick of Camilleri, and the former Predator, Kevin Klein, out there to slow things down for New York. Ari Ramo to Michael Backlund. He plays it ahead. Brodie across the line. Byron to Backlund. That one made it through. Mike Camilleri chases it. Coming in front of him was Stepan, and he'll play it to the red line. Giordano is there. 12-7 of the shots in favor of the Rangers here in the first period. Calgary, power play goal from Colborne, have the lead.
Couple good back-to-back shifts by the Flames have them thinking more on a offensive note.
Calgary up by 1 on the Rangers. Telus Flames hockey.
This period brought to you by the all-new Toyota Highlander. One look and you'll want to know more.
Blue Jays baseball preseason action from the Big O Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The New York Mets and Jays tomorrow, 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Game 1 of that weekend series is tonight. They're tied at 4 in the top of the 8th inning. But tomorrow from the Olympic Stadium, history, the Mets and the Jays.
Takes me back watching some baseball in the Big O. Number 94.
First game I ever saw. Expos at Jerry Park.
Facts.
Gosh, you're old.
Monahan for Agostino. There's Zuccarello for the Rangers. He'll dump it in. Now Ramo watches it. Wotherspoon comes over. He'll find Kenny Agostino. Former Yale Bulldog. Going to go around McDonough. Joe Colborn's there. Played away, and now Derek Brassard finds somebody to pick up that puck. That's Zuccarello to JT Miller. Ramo will play it into the corner. Zuccarello's there. He's pinned up. Joe Colborn has it. 4:45 to go in the first period. Rangers and Flames, second time this season. Richards towards the net, knocked out of the air by Matt Stajan and around the boards. Comes back to the point. Stroman shot, and Ramo got a bit of it. Everybody's looking for it, and they're going to say it was hit with a high stick, as that exploded right in front of Kari Ramo.
High stick. Ramos still made the save. As it bounced up over top of them, the Rangers do get control of it. Here comes the shot. And that's well over the shoulders at that point. And good redirection, good hand-eye coordination by Benoit Pouliot. Causes the high stick infraction.
Looks like Brian McGrattan's trying to impose his will on Derek Dorsett.
Westgarth earlier had the pleasure of lining up. Dorsett, a little bit of talking back and forth.
Played along the boards. Dominic Moore's there down low. Boyle. There's Dorsett in to help out. Derek Dorsett with it. Turns. Doesn't get anything on it. Comes back up, and Diaz taken to the boards by Westgarth. But Dorsett plays it off the back of the net. And again, Derek Dorsett has been around this game. Took a penalty early on, but every time he's out there, Charlie, something's happening for the Rangers.
Skates very well. I mean, he's able to get that puck in the corner, and they seem to have a good rotation going right now.
Long shot from Lance Boma. Here's Marty St. Louis. He heads up ice. Across the line, puck comes free. Giordano looking for Camilleri, and he turned around just a little too late to find it.
If you want one tire that can handle it all, forget all seasons. You need Nokian's WRG3 all-weather tire, imported to Canada by Cal Tire.
Derek Dorsett earlier trying to make a point with Kevin Westgarth. You can see a little bit of a hit with the stick and a cross-check back, and then he continues to skate. And that's the part of their role in the fourth line, is to try to create energy. Both teams having the same mission. Get out there in the limited amount of time that you do get on the ice and try to make something happen. And usually revolves around physical play.
Both players involved right there lead their team in fighting majors, not surprisingly. Here's Mike Camilleri across the line, finds Giordano with room, shoots, scores! Mark Giordano, 2-0 Calgary.
Great outlet play, and an even better play by Michael Camilleri. Just as he gets into the offensive zone, he really slows everybody down, and that allows enough time for Mark Giordano to jump up into the play. And this is basically a 3-on-1 from that point. Here as they move up the ice, Camilleri just slows it. Here comes Giordano. No, nobody goes after him. He's got Backlund wide open to his right. He looks him off and makes that perfect shot just inside the far post. You can see how deep the goaltender Lundqvist is at that point. Really, I think, was caught off guard by the amount of time and space that Giordano had.
Mark Giordano picks up his 13th goal of the year and sets a new career best with his 44th point He does that in his 56th game back in 2010, 2011. He had 43 points in 82 games. It has been a fantastic season for the captain of the Calgary Flames offensively. Now Calgary with a 2-0 lead, and if memory serves me correctly, friend, did they not have a 2-0 lead on December 15th in Madison Square Gardens in the first period?
So what you're saying is never over till it's over. As the Rangers were able to come back in that game and win in the 7th round of the shootout, but Flames feeling pretty good about themselves, and I think they also realize that there's too good of a team out there for them to think that they're just going to walk away with this game.
Matt Stajan goes wide. He'll drop it back for Jiri Hudler. Hudler finds Giordano. Oh, and he just missed on the short side. A bid for 2 here in the first period from number 5. That one's flipped up way in the air and it bounces. They were calling for a fair catch. Glenn Cross. He's checked by McDonough. Puck comes free and Girardi has it. That goal, Giordano is 13th of the year from Camilleri and Paul Byron. Flames with a 2-0 lead here in the first. This one bounces off a body. Pouliot looking for it. Byron has it. Back to Russell. He moves it quickly, and Michael Backlund with the puck. 1 minute and 26 seconds to go in the first period. Rangers get it back. Richards flipping it in. Dorsett has it. Plays it out in front. Boyle's there. His shot is blocked on the way through by Russell. Boyle using his size to shield the puck from Brody. Plays it out in front. Dominic Moore couldn't get all of it. Camilleri might have caught a piece of it towards the end. Dorsett behind the net. Finds Boyle. And Boyle has a couple of bodies parked right in front of Ramo. Camilleri gets it by Moore, but Moore picks it back up. Out in front, Boyle forcing it. Dorsett's there. Ramos got the glove down, and again it rattles around in the blue paint, but never crosses the line. Now we got some pushing and shoving, probably to no one's surprise.
Fourth line, energy line, makes the best of the time they have. Michael Backlund doesn't get that puck deep in the neutral ice zone, and that allows them to regroup and get back in the offensive zone. There's a lot of barking down there between Camilleri and Dorsett. There's the loose play. Puck is just bouncing in that point, and then you see all 3 Rangers and 5 Flame players converge right to the front of the net. Ramo very strong as he has it covered at that point. Lots of pushing and shoving. Down goes Boyle. Then there's the extra conversation. As you can see, the Rangers utilizing as much strength as they can to get goaltender, puck, everything in the net if they can.
Step on to take the draw against Matt Stajan. Rangers win it back to the point. Diaz comes out in front. Nash looking for it, couldn't get to it. Mark Stahl is there. He'll keep it in for New York. Around the boards, Marty St. Louis finds Rick Nash. Watched by Stajan. Nash, wraparound chance in front. St. Louis, side of the net. Stefan's there, and I can't believe it. Kari Ramo did it again. Oh, Kari Ramo has been terrific with plays inside the blue paint here in the first period.
Nash with size, strength on the backhand, tries to stuff it right here. The save is made, but St. Louis cannot get that rebound right there as Mark Giordano ties him up, and Stepan gets the rebound after that. There's the original shot, stays right with it, and there's that leg strength right there by Kari Ramo. Stepan cannot believe he didn't get the first one through, and then Marty St. Louis also bewildered that he didn't get his first goal as a Ranger.
Kari Ramo, 18 saves here in the first period. Flames, Backlund, out in front, Camilleri. Now a chance for Boma, but he missed. And the puck comes back and dumped back in by Brody. Is Lance Boma getting a chance with Camilleri, and Backlund has the puck. Can you get a shot away? No, they can't. But a pretty good first period for the Calgary Flames, and that gives us an opportunity for our next score and win winner, courtesy of Safeway and Kellogg's Cereal. Andrea Slack of Calgary has won a DVD prize pack from E1. The Flames get a power play goal, his first of his NHL career, from Joel Colburn. Mark Giordano's 13th of the year, 2-0 Calgary. More from the Dome when we come back.
The Flames goals. Joel Colburn gets his 10th of the season. Brody and Glenn Cross chipping in. And then Mark Giordano's 13th of the season. He sets a career mark with his 44-point. Mike Camilleri and Paul Byron getting an assist. The Rangers, however, outshooting the Flames 18-10. Eric Francis stops by, and he wants to talk Martin St. Louis. Now, we all remember what he did back in 2004. Now
you had to bring that up, did
yeah,
you?
sorry.
Okay.
Well, we already did, so this is, second stuff. But he doesn't get a goal in the first period. How's he going to fit in New York, you think?
Well, you would have thought he would fit in beautifully, especially playing with the likes of a Rick Nash and Derek Stepan. And he's played on that top line for them throughout his entire stay there. This is his 13th game. He doesn't have a goal yet.
Yep.
He's got 3 assists. He came into this, after this trade, or before this trade, top 5 in NHL scoring. So they're expecting a whole lot more from him. It looked like he finally got a break at the Dome. Geez, imagine Marty St. Louis getting a break here at the Saddledome
yeah.
and getting his first goal. However, as fate has it, it was waved off. His woes continue. Talking to him today, he says, you know what, I'm squeezing the stick. I'm not comfortable, I'm not happy, but my team is winning, and so I guess that's the good news in all this. Here's another shot of him missing a pretty good chance at the side of the net. The kind of chances Marty St. Louis usually buries. He's having trouble on the left side. He doesn't play usually on the left side, and that may be part of his problem.
Maybe saving his goals for the playoffs. He does that sometimes.
Very well could be.
TJ Brody's had a tremendous year. He just gets better every game, doesn't he?
Yeah, and we talk a lot about Mark Giordano, and we could have talked about him again with that brilliant goal he scored in the first period. But I want to talk about his partner, TJ Brody. 3 weeks ago, the coaches sat him down and said, we need you to shoot more. You're being offensive-minded, and we like that. And here's another example of it, him getting involved in the play. Look at him, he's right there on the top of the paint. That's fantastic to see for a goaltender, and it helped set up the goal because he was in there mucking around. But they want him to shoot more. He's flying tonight, he's getting involved. He dishes a lot, and who can blame him? When Mark Giordano's your partner, and he's on fire as he has been all year long, you're going to dish. But watch for him to shoot a little bit more as the season winds down, because that's what the coaches asked him to do.
Yeah, he's had a great year, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Rob and
sure.
Charlie almost set for period 2. Take it away.
We are indeed, as the Flames take a 2-0 lead into the Sandwich Stanza. They got some goals, but they also got some goaltending in that first period. 18 saves for Kari Ramo. And what was maybe most impressive, at least to me, Charlie, is how much inside the crease he had to work.
A lot of teams trying to take advantage of that right now, sending big players, especially that fourth line. They had 5 of Rangers had 5 shots on net themselves, but they're driving hard to the net. And we mentioned that as our Budweiser key to the game against Lundqvist. You have to get traffic in front of these goaltenders. And the Rangers seem to be doing that, but Kari Ramo has been very focused, and I'm really impressed with his leg strength right now, especially coming back from a knee injury and the amount of traffic and pushing that he's had to deal with.
Flames playing their first of 6 in a row against the Eastern Conference as they go out on a 5-game road trip, which starts in Ottawa on Sunday. And not much impact, I suppose, on the Western Conference playoffs, but they could play a role in what happens in the East. As Glenn Cross played a role in the first goal. Calgary scoring on the power play in period number 1. Joe Colburn, his first career power play goal, as the first continue for many of these young Flames.
Definitely have to be a little bit of an adjustment for the Flames, more defensively than anything. Once they get to that offensive zone, they seem to be quite comfortable with that puck. They just have to make sure that they keep that puck out of their zone as much as possible.
Miller, watched by Brody. He kicks it ahead. Mike Camilleri with a neat play, looking for Paul Byron. It's by him. And they hustle back for it. McDonough in the lead. So it's icing against the Flames early in period number 2.
Paul Byron getting plenty of ice time and opportunity, especially playing with the likes of Michael Backlund, Mike Camilleri. It gives him good opportunity, especially with his speed. He's going to be able to get into some offensive areas with the composure, especially of a player like Mike Camilleri. We heard Mark Giordano talk about the feed that he had received from him to score his goal, and that's that experience, the veteran leadership that Mike Camilleri brings.
Camilleri comes in to take the face-off for Calgary against Stepan. Rangers win it. St. Louis looking for Stepan, but Camilleri tipped it away. Girardi hanging in there. Plays it to Rick Nash behind the net. Nash with that big body, protecting the puck. And again, it comes out to the crease area, and Ramo with that big mitt hangs onto it. Another face-off coming up offensively for the Rangers.
Ramos staying right on that post. Nash with a nice little move right here. He's trying to buy time. Watch as St. Louis backs out, and then he tries to come across the crease. Instead of, it looks like he's going to go back to the point. St. Louis backs himself off. He gets that stick on the ice, but Kari Ramo holds that post and takes away that opportunity.
Paul Byron falls as he could see some daylight behind the Rangers' blue line. But he gives up the puck. New York have it again. Here's St. Louis. Blocked off by Joe Colborne. He'll dump it back in. Kari Ramo out of the net. And he gives it to TJ Brody. Over to Mark Giordano. Picked up his 13th of the year in the first period. Ryan McDonough off the boards and in. Ramo out to greet it. Has to cut off Dorsett. Giordano also getting a face full of Derek Dorsett, the former Medicine Hat Tiger. Dominic Moore across the line, avoids the check from Giordano. Dorsett now in front. Boyle scores! That all started up high when Giordano missed with the check, and Boyle cuts the lead to 1.
This line has been getting plenty of ice time through that first period. He gets another opportunity. There's the big miss hit, and that set up an odd man attack, and Boyle just goes hard to the net and actually missed the first shot, went off the post. Dorsett with a nice feed right there, but he gets it right back as it hits the post, comes right back to him right there, and he takes advantage of that. And again, an example of spending too much time in your own zone playing defensive style hockey.
So the Rangers early in period number 2 cut the lead to 1 as the Flames tip it in. This one comes right back out in front of Lundqvist. He'll play it to the corner. Colborne's there. A pile up in the corner, and the Rangers, the benefactors. Richards across the line, drops it. Pouliot checked on the way back by Joe Colborne. Hagelin to the sideboards. This one whistles through the crease. It comes back to Diaz. Rafael Diaz misfires, but he's going to get it right back. Wotherspoon gave it right back to the defenseman of the Rangers, and Diaz has it again. He'll load up. That one's in! Off a body in front, and the Rangers have tied this game at 2.
Well, at the end of the first period, you knew there had to be an adjustment by the Flames as far as defensive coverage. As everybody points to Diaz, that no one touched that puck, his teammates. And it looks like it went off of 56. Tyler Wotherspoon way off to the right. That was going wide by a good 5 or 6 feet. You can see how the youngster just hanging his head at that point. And unfortunately, when you spend that much time in your zone, bad things are going to happen. And that was going wide. And the Flames do call a timeout. So 2 very quick goals by the Rangers. And you saw all that pressure in that first period and the good scoring opportunities.
2 goals 39 seconds apart. Boyle his 6th and Rafael Diaz his 2nd. And for Diaz, his head must be spinning. He was traded twice in the span of 30 days. Montreal sent him to Vancouver for Dale Weiss. And then 30 days later, the trade deadline, he was acquired by the Rangers from Vancouver for a 5th-round pick. And his point shot goes off Kenny Agostino's stick, off Tyler Wotherspoon and in. And the Rangers have tied it up. We haven't even played 3 minutes here in period number 2.
Big, strong team that likes to get that offensive attack going. And when the Flames had given them a couple second opportunities in that first period and has continued on in here the third, that's something that they will have to make that quick adjustment. Played in.
Back to get it. Kari Ramo and Butler pushed around the board. Jiri Hudler comes back. That's Stajan. Finds Hudler. His pass knocked down by Zuccarello. Hudler gets it back. He'll play it into the Rangers' end. Mark Stahl back to pick it up. It's it by Glencross and back down the ice. And this is an icing call against New York. Let's go to Roger Millions.
All right, Rob, thanks very much. Ladislav Schmid will be out of this game, will not return with an upper body injury. We speculate it may have occurred here on this blast by Derek Dorsett behind the Flames net. Ladislav Schmid did not enjoy that at all, and of course he is not back tonight. He is out with the upper body injury.
So Derek Dorsett continues to put his fingerprints on this game as he assisted on Brian Boyle's goal, and he played the role in having the Flames go down to 5 defensemen, including 21-year-old Tyler Wotherspoon.
You saw the similar type of game with San Jose when they played against the Flames. You get going in the offensive zone and having the puck in front of you and you're skating, and you get hits like that. We just saw Dorsett on Schmid because instead of going back, you're chasing and you're getting yourself in good body positions.
Girardi into the corner for Nash. It's picked up by Giordano. He'll play it along the boards. Boma gets to it. Nash there. He'll dump it right back in. Does there seem to be a little more desperation in one team than another at this point?
Rangers have been on a roll as of late too. And we talked about winning the number of games in a row and then coming on the road, being a good road style team. They're battling for one of the top positions in the East for home ice advantage. So they know that they're going to the playoffs.
Boyle turns with the puck. He's watched by a pair of Flames, gets it down low. Derek Dorsett. And it's poked off his stick by Tyler Wotherspoon. They bump in the corner. Joe Colburn. Outlet pass looking for Monahan, but he won't clear. Boyle falls, but manages to get it down low for Dorsett. Dorsett bounces off of a check. One went just wide. Dominic Moore finds Diaz. Klein pokes it to the boards. And again, Calgary struggling to get the puck out. This time they do. Just past the 5-minute mark of the second period. We're now tied at 2. Shots favoring the Rangers, 21-10, as that one bounces off Moore into his own bench.
Pro Hockey Life, the ultimate hockey megastore.
Alain Vigneault coming over in basically a coaching swap between Vancouver and New York. Night and day, the players are talking about what Alain Vigneault brings to his team. There's some pushing and shoving right off the face-off.
Glencross and Pouliot. Glencross very unhappy with Benoit Pouliot. He goes back over and he hits him. Hagelin back to the point. Gets it back from Stralman. Hagelin shot blocked by Russell. Back out to center. And right now it looks like a veteran team against a young team, doesn't it? The Flames look a little bit rattled.
And you're looking at the positioning as we get another turnover here.
Hagelin to Richards, scores! 3-2 New York, 3 straight in the second, and the Rangers have their first lead of the game.
Talking about another turnover in the neutral ice zone. The Flames all going up ice. They're going from left to right, and there's a bouncing puck. They don't get it deep. A defensive position, Richards, it causes the turnover and gets himself into a position which he can do when he's hot as of late. He's feeling a little bit better about himself in the last couple weeks. Gets himself into a position. This is a perfect shot just underneath the bar. Not much chance for Kari Ramo at that point. But again, there's repetition of giving away too many opportunities, and you're always backpedaling, and that's where the confidence level of some of these younger players for the Flames have to turn around very quickly. And need to put together a couple good back-to-back shifts to turn this around.
Not surprising, Brad Richards likes to play against the Calgary Flames. He picks up his 18th of the year, his second point in this game. That now gives him 21 points in 19 career games against the Flames. A number of those coming when he was a member of the Dallas Stars. Here's JT Miller. Rangers looking to pour it on. Hard shot over top of the net. New York dominating here in period number 2, have the lead. Wotherspoon back. Watched by Broussard. Agostino will get it out. Diaz, cross ice to Klein. Up to Miller. He gains the line. Colborn tying him up. Puck comes free, and Butler has the puck for Calgary. Chris Butler drops it. Agostino fumbling it around at the blue line. It's taken away, and Diaz will play it back down in the Calgary end. That last goal, Richards from Hagelin and Pouliot. As the Rangers have struck 3 times quickly here in period number 2.
They had 18 shots in the first period, and they continued right here into the second period as Brad Boyles gets a nice feed from Dorsett at that point. And this is unfortunate for 2 players, the goaltender Ramo and Wotherspoon, as it goes off of Wotherspoon. And this is the Brad Richards 18th of the year from Hagelin and Pouliot.
3 goals in a span of 3 minutes and 27 seconds for the New York Rangers. And they have taken the air out of this building. Nash flipping it through the air. A race for it, and it bounces back on Stepan. And Brody tangled up with Derek Stepan. Fans were looking for a call. They don't get one. Stepan trying to lay it ahead for St. Louis. Brody. Stepan takes it back. That one's played wide of the net. Rick Nash taken to the boards by Paul Byron. So one thing Paul Byron has not been shy of tonight is playing physical on Rick Nash.
Hit him a couple times. Noticed even a little bit of a cross check into the back of Dorsett. Also, just getting involved physically, and that's the one thing you stay with that consistency as far as your ice time.
Ryan McGrattan across the line. McGrattan to Boma. Girardi blocked that off. Now the puck taken away by the Rangers inside their own line, but Dominic Moore couldn't clear. He gets a little help there from Girardi, and back to pick it up is Butler. Calgary's only been outshot 4-1 here in the second period, but they've given up the 3 goals. This one's tipped out to center. Moore, watched by Boma. Diaz ahead, Dorsett spins into the line, and his shot goes off a leg. Butler has it. Chris Butler to Brian McGrattan. They'll hold up, couldn't. The Rangers are back on the attack. Hagelin with Moore. Hagelin shot kicked away by Ramo. Dominic Moore. Give and go with Pouliot, but it's intercepted. Wotherspoon has it. And Calgary's away. Here's Kevin Westgarth. Long shot up high on Lundqvist, and he'll hang on to it and give it to Stahl behind the net. Staging was right there. Klein. Pressured on the play by Hoodler. And Mark Stahl has the puck. Is it off the glass and out? Hagelin waves at it. Wotherspoon's there for Calgary. Brought across the line by Pouliot. Comes right back to him. That shot's blocked. And now the Flames clear. Glencross calls for it, but the pass cut off. Hagelin stepped in front of Stajan as he tried to feed Glencross.
Seeing the intensity by the Flames, especially on those loose pucks at both blue lines and in the neutral ice zone.
Zuccarello, and he found Richards. That shot goes wide. Another blocked shot. That might have hit Backlund up high. Brody comes over, cuts off McDonough. And McDonough and Brody tying up. Backlund has the puck. Bounce pass ahead for Camilleri, but it's behind him, and Miller has it for the Rangers. Back to McDonough. Camilleri takes the puck back. Finds Paul Byron across the line. Byron, Camilleri shoots, stopped by Lundqvist. Rebound, Backlund at the net. Another one rolls to Lundqvist. It's still free, and it's picked up. Giordano shoots to the side of the net. Backlund stopped by Lundqvist, chops it out in front, and the Rangers escape. As the Flames with a fury right in front of Henrik Lundqvist. Here's Miller. Shot, oh, and he just missed. Looked up top, far side. And that one whistles all the way back down in the New York end.
Good pressure by the Flames. Now they have to find some way to get back-to-back. Maybe 3 good shifts like that. Good scoring opportunities, because Lundqvist now has been feeling pretty good about himself after those 2 early goals and some big saves.
Fans into it. Trying to urge Calgary back into this game here in the second period. Marty St. Louis turns to Derek Stepan. Sean Monahan watching him. Nash. Back to Stepan. Out in front. Oh, what a stop by Kari Ramo. A game changer, perhaps, as he robbed Anton Stroman, who had come in from the blue line. Rangers with a big second period, but Kari Ramo keeps his team in it.
Gets to 4-2. The Rangers would really be moving forward offensively.
Rick Nash behind the net. It's blocked off by Backlund. Columbus Blue Jacket captain gets it back to Mark Stahl at the point. Slap pass, and Brody got in front of it. Calgary trying to get it out. It's been a problem here in this hockey game, is getting pucks out of their end. Brody. So the Flames now down to 5 defensemen. Ladislav Schmid knocked out of this game, will not return.
And a 21-year-old rookie who's been playing very well, like a veteran as of late, and Tyler Wotherspoon, so he'll be getting a lot of extra time and experience tonight.
There's Carl Hagelin loading up. Oh, and he tried to cut across the grain. Ryan McDonough ahead. Hagelin loses the puck. Brody has it. Shots 24-15 in favor of the Rangers. They lead by 1. Calgary led by 2 coming into this period, but 3 goals in a span of 3 minutes and 27 seconds. And the Rangers with the lead on the road. Brody flips it through the air. That's what occurred as Glencross. Calgary just unable to get anything going in the neutral zone. Now they try. Glencross to Matt Stajan. He'll flip it in the corner. Curtis Glencross trying to get it back out to Stajan. Matt Stajan up top. Wotherspoon loads up. That one's blocked. Rebound. Lundqvist with the save. Colborne just shot it over top of the net. Joe Colborne showed great patience staying with that puck. Russell also looking for a lane. Down low. Wotherspoon trying to find Stajan, and this one comes all the way back down. Looks like an icing call against the Rangers.
Another good shift pressure for the Flames. Colborne, one good shot that was blocked, then he ended up getting another good opportunity. Back to the point, there's the shot, block shot at that point. First shot by Colborne, gets his own rebound, and just trying to tuck that up high underneath the bar, gets it back very briefly as it bounces through. And that's what something a goaltender like Henrik Lundqvist will do to you, force you into making that perfect shot because he has been so good as of late.
Second star in the National Hockey League this week after setting a new franchise best in wins with 302 and a new franchise best in shutouts with 50. All of that against Ottawa and New Jersey last week. As Monahan to take the draw for Calgary. Moore in there for the Rangers. Monahan wins it clean. Shot wide of the net. Colborne comes over. That's Boma now on this line. Boma moving up and down the lineup the last couple of games. Can play center on the fourth line. Can also move to the wing on this line. Russell. Back to Butler. Here's Joe Colborne. Scored Calgary's first goal of this game, his 10th of the year on the power play in the first period. Turns, button hooks, falls. And Rafael Diaz picks up the puck. Cross ice pass to the middle. Moore swiping it in. It's offside. If the Rangers touch it, they don't. Calgary with some room. McGrattan chipping it in. Klein back to get it. Boma trailing him. Caught a piece of Kevin Klein. Now Boma with it. Try to walk out in front. Push back. McGrattan drags the puck. He'll give it to Stajan. That's Stajan trying to turn around and get it out in front. Boma with a nice play at the side of the net. Rangers recover. McGrattan, good work to keep it in. JT Miller a couple of opportunities, and finally the Rangers get it out. Brassard. Puck goes to the middle, and McGrattan's there. Dorsett trying to tie up big number 16, but here come the Flames. 3-on-2. Brody to Westgarth, and he just missed. Stajan in front. Westgarth scores! Not to be denied. Kevin Westgarth ties this game.
Both teams utilizing a lot of ice time for their energy lines. Both of them have been rewarded. This is just a great turnover by the Flames. We talk about mistakes that the Rangers have caused. Right there's a little give and go shot up over the net. Matt Stajan stays right with it. They get it back towards the front of the net. Westgarth stays right with it. So does McGrattan. And that just finds the far left post as Matt Stajan just sends it right back out front. And why wouldn't you? There's a lot of beef standing out there between McGrattan and Westgarth. And he gets the opportunity to plug it in behind Lundqvist. So some good rewards for some hard work by the energy line.
Backlund in tight on Lundqvist. The puck came free, and Marty St. Louis is there. And the Rangers now a little under siege. We go back and forth here at the Dome tonight between the Broadway Blue Shirts and the Calgary Flames. Westgarth's third of the year. Second in the last 4 games. Camilleri will tip it in. Anton Stralman turns in behind the net. Watched by a pair of Flames. Brody comes over. He'll pick it up off the boards, but it's stripped away from him. Now a chance for New York. 2-on-1. Pouliot with St. Louis. And it's broken up by Mark Giordano. Offensively, defensively, the captain getting it done at both ends for the Flames.
Mistakes the Flames want to limit right now because of getting themselves back into this game. Tied at 3. It's a big goal by Westgarth to not only get them tied, but emotionally keep everybody involved in this game.
Yuri Hudler down low in front, and the veteran Lundqvist reaches out and grabs that puck. We're tied at 3 here in Calgary. Kevin Westgarth picking up his third of the year.
It is proudly sponsored by Canadian Pacific and its 2,700 railroaders based in Calgary. For every Flames goal this season, the Railway will donate $250 to Kidsport and the Flames Even Strength program. Keep scoring, Calgary Flames, and help CP build stronger kids and stronger communities.
And by swiping a free club card, Bonnie Osland of Okotoks has won a Garmin Nuvi GPS courtesy of Safeway and Kellogg's cereal. Kevin Westgar's third goal of the season.
Career high for him also, and coaches must have a hunch. They both get their fourth line, their energy lines back out there. They're the guys that are creating all the havoc, and Matt Stajan has a new set of wingers here.
As the puck is played back down into the Calgary end. So Westgarth scoring on Saturday up in Edmonton. McGrattan scoring against Anaheim on Wednesday, and Kevin Westgarth getting another goal here tonight. Stajan taking down at center. Moore brings it in. Here's Boyle. He opened the scoring for the Rangers here in the second period. Back to the point. Long shot by Diaz. Big rebound. Dorsett turns, spins, and misses. Now Brian McGrattan trying to work around Diaz. Wotherspoon tied up. Moore with Dorsett going to the net. Dominic Moore turns, shoots, and Ramo makes the save. Up off the glass, and Wotherspoon there for Calgary. Westgarth knocked down on the play. And Zuccarello off the bench. Coming out in front, the pass just by him. Mark Stahl as the Rangers take their turn in hemming Calgary in their own end. Stahl shoots. That one's blocked. And the Flames will chip it out. Calgary would desperately like to get some room so they can make a line change. Zuccarello looking for Miller. Wotherspoon is there. He'll play it off the boards, and Lance Boma coming over for Calgary. Stahl gets it back. Now Miller. Brassard comes over. He'll check Wotherspoon. Zuccarello behind the net to Brassard. Camilleri swiping it away from the former Blue Jacket. Mike Camilleri has it. He'll chip it up through the air. Wotherspoon looking a little tired out there right now. He's going to head off. As Backlund has it for Calgary. Makes his move around Anton Stralman. Behind the net. Puck comes free, and Zuccarello has it. Up to Marty St. Louis. One-on-one against TJ Brodie. Brodie trying to keep him to the outside. St. Louis still with the puck. Now he's tied up by Giordano. Step on. Back to St. Louis. Rick Nash is there. He has it. Nash to the point. Girardi. He'll go down low. Step on. Has it tipped away from him. And Ryan McDonough back to Nash, and that's into the glove of Kari Ramo, and he will hang on to that. We're tied at 3 here in the second period. It's TELUS Flames Hockey.
Participating product for tonight's game is Kellogg Cereal. And a reminder to join the conversation. We'd like to see your pictures, information you have as you're watching Flames games. Just hashtag SN Flames and let us know.
Everybody else taking some pictures and selfies being taken. We're taking a couple up here in the booth, as Roger suggested. Off the draw, Calgary win it in their own end. Giordano along the boards. McDonough can't keep it in. Nash back out to play it.
Rangers in town Friday night. Lots of goals. Why wouldn't you be having fun?
Absolutely. Boma knocks it down, but it's Nash with the puck. Looking for St. Louis. Off the side of the net. Nash falls, as does Giordano, who's lost the glove. He finds TJ Brodie. Brodie with 2 assists in this game. It's his 6th multi-point game of the season. Talk about Giordano coming alive offensively, but certainly we've seen the maturation of TJ Brodie offensively.
And these are the 2 shutdown guys that Bob Hartley likes to use. They're not only doing a great job on the plus-minus, but getting offensive scoring for their clubs.
Here's Hagelin back to the point. Over to McDonough. He misfires and drags it out in the neutral zone. Joe Colborne steals it. Hagelin came a long way back and took that puck back for the Rangers. Here's Richards, cross ice, finds Diaz, loads up. His shot into the midsection on Kari Ramo. And he'll hang on. I think Diaz almost took something off of it, a little bit of a change up there.
I think he's not really noted for the scoring, and I think he was looking, okay, where do I pass it to?
Now what do I pass
it to?
Now what do I do?
And this one, you can see right here, he's looking to pass right there, and then, I better get the shot on net. And then you could see Hagelin trying to redirect that shot at the goaltender Rameau. But again, that's what you expect your 5-6 guys. He's along with Kevin Klein. They really have done a nice job for Alain Vigneault as far as putting some quality minutes on the ice, allowing their top 2 pairings ample time to rest for their shifts.
John Moore has been hurt, out with concussion-like symptoms, although he's been skating with the team.
He was on the road trip, they say. And I think that was the reason they ended up getting Klein from Nashville, was a little bit of experience, especially when it comes down towards the playoff time. And you can really hold down the fort in that 5-6 position.
Less than a minute to go here in period number 2. We're tied at 3. Brody goes wide on Diaz. Still with the puck. Goes around the net. Still has it. Brody turns into the corner. He goes. Glenn Cross to Giordano. Shoots. That one's off Diaz. Glenn Cross battling along the boards, but it's taken away. Zuccarello. 3-on-2. The Rangers come. Zuccarello shoots, and Rameau caught a piece of it. Kudler to go back up the other way. Here's Matt Stajan. He'll lead the rush for Calgary. Flips it in, 23 seconds to go. Ryan McDonough behind the net. He has a 5-game point streak on the line tonight. Pass ahead, goes off Boyle. Kicked up by Butler. Camilleri, 10 seconds. Shoot, scores! Mike Camilleri, and the Flames get the lead back.
A little bit of soccer play by Chris Butler at the defensive blue line, keeps that bouncing puck into the offensive neutral ice zone, and then they get it over to Mike Camilleri. Right there's the bounce. Camilleri picks it up. He knows there's not a lot of time left on the clock, and you have players driving hard to the net, and Henrik Lundqvist would love to have that one back. In fact, he looked down to see if there was a hole in the equipment just between the pads and the catching glove. Just bounced off of both of them and squeaked through with 8.5 seconds to go in the period.
24th of the year for Mike Camilleri, 2 points in this game, and the Flames led after 1, and they're going to lead after 2. And with the goal by Mike Camilleri, Carol Winstanley of Calgary swiped a free club card, and on behalf of Safeway and Kellogg's Cereal, you want a Hoover Wind Tunnel multi-cyclonic bagless canister. 3 goals by the Rangers, 3 minutes and 27 seconds apart, gave them a 3-2 lead, but Calgary answer back. Westgarth is 3rd, Camilleri is 24th. Flames up by 1 after 40.
Calgary, our scoring summary brought to you by Panago Pizza. Before, during, or after the game, get a fresh Panago. Colbert and Giordano in the period. Number 1, we have 2-0 lead, but then Rangers storm back. Boyle, Diaz, and Richards made it 3-2. Kevin Westgarth ties it up at the end of 2 periods of play. There's a look at the shots on goal, and that leads us into the man on my left joining us, and that is Eric Francis. 30 shots for Karri Rameau. He's been great, but boy, is he busy.
He's busy. 30 shots is usually a full night's work for an NHL goaltender, but he's shown tremendous poise tonight. And you know, this whole team has to bounce back from allowing 3 goals in just under 4 minutes. But the work he's put in tonight, you could argue that he's kept them in this game, especially when they were really struggling there in the early parts of the period. Look at these highlight reel saves. There's this one there. That's not a pretty one, but effective. This one you got to see twice because that is a beauty. Glove save right there. Marty St. Louis a little bit snaky again tonight. And there's another one there. Karri Rameau is going to be back next year. We know that for sure. Yanni Artio will probably be his backup, but I think generally people feel pretty good about the effort that those 2 guys have put in this year as they make strides towards becoming regular goaltenders.
There's a look at what he's done progressing throughout the months of this season. A very, very good March thus far. Well, tomorrow in NCAA hockey, Johnny Gaudreau and the Boston College Golden Eagles will play their regional game against Denver. If they continue on, he may go to the Frozen Four. If they lose, he could become a Calgary Flame. What do you think?
Well, I don't know what to think. I'll tell you what, he's got a heck of a decision on his hands. He's only a little guy, 159 pounds, 5'6", but right now, here's a guy whose mother wants him to sign, or not to sign. She wants him to go back to 1 more year of college hockey, get his degree, go to the graduation, get bigger, get stronger. His dad, he wants him to sign the contract, and don't be fooled. There will be a contract waiting there. The ink will still be wet when they lose their game. If they lose this weekend, they'll want him to come. play the balance of the season with the Calgary Flames, and finish out the year on the AHL club and get some pro experience to see if he is pro material. He's very small, but he's the best player in college hockey without question. Probably the most exciting prospect in the Flames organization. The scary thing is, if he doesn't sign with the Flames this year and plays out next year, he becomes a free agent and can go to any team in the league. That's what Flames and their fans are terrified of.
Are you guaranteeing it?
I'm not guaranteeing anything. The guy's got a tough decision. Mom wants one, dad wants another. He's going to like the money, but he also knows he might want to get a little bigger.
All right, we'll find out. Brian, it's up to you, but I send you to Rob and Charlie.
A lot of people talking about Johnny Gaudreau these days. I know it was a hot topic on Sportsnet 960 The Fan earlier in the week when it started bubbling up a New York Times article that Mom wanted him to stay. But
that's a tough decision for the young man. Obviously, I think everybody's goal when you get to that level is to play pro hockey, and education is very important. And yet, you know, for the fans in Calgary, they've been hearing about him for so long and hearing about the maturity and how much better he has gotten as his career in college has gone on. So it'll be very exciting to see the exciting young man.
And another potential young player added to this roster.
Well, we got to see him in the prospect game in the summertime, and he looked like he belongs. I mean, he's a smaller player, but he knows where to go. You look at Marty St. Louis, he's a smaller player. He knows where to get, when to get involved, when not to do. And you're seeing the maturity of Paul Byron in the same situation, a smaller player, and Mike Camilleri, same thing, but they know where to find that open space and be dangerous.
Back-to-back Hockey East Player of the Year. Second year in a row he's been nominated for the Hobey Baker Award as the top player in college hockey. But there is a game to be played right now between the Calgary Flames and the New York Rangers as we are underway here in the third period. Calgary getting the lead back late in the second period thanks to Mike Camilleri. Now Camilleri with a goal and an assist in this game. This is just the 13th time in his career he's played the Rangers. He has 16 points against New York.
Something about playing a team like New York, original six team, the jerseys, the way they play. They have a very good team right now, and they will make a big push in the playoffs.
Lots of bodies flying everywhere. No arms going in the air. The officials are just letting him play this one out. Girardi right up the middle, and that one's on the stick of Jordan. A little trouble there, but he gets it back. Shots the story. You heard Eric Francis talk about it. Calgary already given up 30 to the Rangers. Third straight game that Calgary surrendered 30 or more shots on goal, after they've really done a nice job of carving down the shots against.
Well, let's be honest. Let's look at the opposition also. You're looking at San Jose, Anaheim, and New York. All three of them very good quality offensive style teams.
Chris Butler behind the net. In front, Byron. Oh, what a save by Lundqvist. He lunged at that puck. He looked like a salmon jumping out of the water. Now the Rangers. Richards, he just misses. That one shot over top of the net by Diaz. Stahl down low. Brassard has it. He turns. He can't get a clean shot through. Butler chasing it to the corner. Off the boards, Monahan's there. He'll tip it up and over top of Stahl. And the Flames able to get it out.
Both goaltenders making each a very spectacular save. Ramo in the second period on Strawman, and that one right there, Lundqvist on Paul Byron.
Diaz shot goes off Boyle. Boyle's hurt. Back into the play. Just shake it off, they say. Dorsett comes out in front. Oh, and waiting for it was Dominic Moore, but he couldn't make a connection. This line has been excellent for the Rangers tonight. Moore watches. Dorsett has a battle with his former Medicine Hat Tiger teammate Chris Russell. Puck comes out in front. Brian McGrattan waiting for it. He has it, and away goes McGrattan. Westgard with McGrattan going to the net. And Brian McGrattan turned around, couldn't get it away from Klein.
Lots of pushing and shoving away from the puck, as you had mentioned. Dorsett first going after Russell, and then a little bit of a shot on Brody, so started to pick up as far as the nastiness.
Stajan can't get it out. Girardi will keep it in. Ramo over to Tyler Wotherspoon. Flames without the services of Ladislav Schmid. He was hurt in the first period. Down to 5 defensemen. Hagelin with Pouliot in front. Hagelin goes to the board, still has it. His shot in. Ramo makes the save. Girardi's there, and it goes off a leg and wide. Wotherspoon going to take the puck away from Benoit Pouliot. Here's Richards. Give and go with Girardi, and the Flames manage to get this one out.
Flames almost got caught twice not getting that puck out. Girardi doing a good job holding the line. And these are the little simple mistakes that the Flames have to cut back in a game like this. The blue lines are so important. Defensively, your own, and of course, offensively, the Rangers trying to get that puck deep.
Here's Camilleri. He finds Michael Backlund holding up. Backlund in traffic shoots it over top of the net. Giordano has his tipped and knocked down by Boma. Camilleri. Now Backlund. Not sure we've seen Kenny Agostino since he turned over the puck in the second period. Flames shortening the bench. Here's Stepan across the line for the Rangers. Nash using his big frame to shield the puck from Backlund. Nash trying to turn. He'll play it over. Stahl loads up. Ramo with the save, and the Flames tap it out to center ice. Not much on it, but enough for Giordano to clear and get a change.
Lots of traffic in front of Ramo, too. He's had to come through some big saves. Just almost vicinity saves where he has to position himself in the right place to make the big save.
Ford turns back. Just over 15 minutes to go here in the third period. Calgary up by a goal. Lead changes in this game. Here's Diaz. Turns in the corner. Back to the point. Boyle loads up, shoots. That one rattles around, and Ramo stretches out, and he has it. Uncomfortable position, but he makes the stop.
Awkward position to find that puck, but he had the glove on it right away. And again, we're seeing a lot of white jerseys. They call them the blue shirts, but they're white on the road here. And again, down in front. Guess who's standing right in the middle? Dorsett, as he gets that position. Russell does a good job on him at that point, taking away his stick, and that allows Ramo to reach in with a big catching glove to make the save.
Staging to take the draw against Broussard. Flames win it. They held a slight edge in the face-off circle after 2 periods. Girardi down low. Zuccarello turns. That one's blocked by Staging. Girardi's shot stopped by Ramo. Rangers trying to dig it free, but again, Kari Ramo stands tall.
Girardi's been doing a good job for the Rangers on that blue line, keeping the puck in the offensive zone. And that just allows the Rangers more opportunities offensively. Again, getting pucks at the net. They're not afraid to just get the puck at the net as they bring their bodies to it. And that's something, again, that you go back to the situation of making sure once you have control of the puck in the defensive zone, keep your feet moving. Get the puck out of the defensive zone.
Look at Matt Zuccarello. Career year for him, 50 points in 70 games so far.
He had a time struggling for goals, no goals in the last 16. I think we talked about it, the hand injury from the Olympics really has affected him. It still affects him to this day in that part of the season, so that'll be a big negative as far as their offensive depth.
McDonough swings it over to Girardi. Rangers starting a 4-game road trip through the West. They're into Edmonton on the weekend, Vancouver as well. And they end up in Colorado next Thursday. Calgary about to embark on a 5-game Eastern swing. Zuccarello turns, looking for Nash. Boma couldn't get it out. Now Calgary has some room. Hard pass up the middle, and Hoodler couldn't turn on it. If he did, might have had a 2-on-1 with Matt Stagin. Shots 36-23 in favor of the Rangers. New York comes into this game third in the National Hockey League in average shots per game. So to your point from a couple of moments ago, the Flames are really started to see teams that like to put the puck on net.
When you have the size of the teams we talk about, Anaheim, San Jose, and the Rangers, they can not only get the shots, but they get the bodies at the net.
That one goes over top of the net as Calgary nursing a 1-goal lead here in the third period against the Rangers. It's TELUS Flames Hockey.
Time to live the game with Windows, and we ask you to use hashtag SportsNetFlames to give us your pictures and your thoughts and how you spend the time watching our Flames hockey on Sportsnet. Sean Vanderhay of Cold Lake took part. That's a nice-looking couple of fans right there. Appreciate you sending that in. Also, many, many others, including Kim Easterbrook, her and her daughter enjoying their first Flames game at the Saddledome. And you know what? They look pretty good doing it. Live the game with Windows. And a reminder, at the game's end, you may see your picture with so many that you sent in as we say goodnight here on Sportsnet Flames.
Glencross trying to get around Diaz. Rangers get it back. Flames halt the advance. Diaz will try this again. Up to Richards. Goal and an assist in this game for Brad Richards for New York. Russell waiting for it. That one takes a hop. Russell gets it back. Won't be able to get it out. Diaz has it. His shot. Blocked. Stajan got a stick in front of it. Russell didn't know where it was going. Now it comes back to Richards. Goes back to the blue line. Finds some space. Diaz. Off the hop. His shot. Blocked. Stajan got in front of it. Hudler has it. He's just going to clear it out. Calgary wanting to make a change up front. They get a couple of bodies. Rangers changing some players as well. Richards gets the puck back. Russell trying to take it away from him. Now Glencross to Michael Backlund with some steam. But McDonough came over, cut off the pass. Right back up to center. Here comes Marty St. Louis to Nash. They cross. Nash back to St. Louis. Stopped by Ramo. But a penalty coming up, and the Rangers will get their first power play of the evening.
Nash really showing why he was first overall by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Big, strong, gets a little dish from St. Louis right there. Giordano has to reach in with the hook. They get it over to St. Louis, and it's a huge save by Ramo. But Nash, with that size and strength, he knew what he was trying to do, get that teammates set up to the left of Ramo. So first opportunity by the Rangers on their power play.
They've been struggling. Last 10 games have gone 2 for 30 on the power play. Calgary now second best penalty kill at home. Diaz moving it over quickly. Shot in traffic goes wide, and Diaz will not be able to hold the line, and he retreats.
Unfortunately for the Rangers, one of those power play goals was an empty netter that Stefan had scored. So they have struggled, but they do have all the weapons to make it a very dangerous power play.
Indeed. One of those weapons is Marty St. Louis, who thought he had his first goal as a Ranger in the first period. Waved off when it was shown he had kicked it into the net. He's out there along with Rick Nash. Flames Boma and Stajan up front. Butler and Brody are back. No Ladislav Schmid, so that will impact your penalty killing plans if you're Bob Hartley. The Flames get it out, and they get a funny hop off the boards. Boma unable to take advantage. Richards corrals it. He'll play it back to Ryan McDonough. 1:02 to go in the power play. The first of the game for the Rangers.
Flames penalty killers to look at is Richards. He is a forward playing on the defense. He's the quarterback that gets things set up, so he can be a defensive liability on the 2-on-1.
Monahan looking for it. This one comes out. Monahan and Joe Colborne out there. Bob Hartley wanting to get the youngsters some time killing penalties in the later stages of this season. Rounding their game in all 3 zones. He talks about it every day after practice. Rattles around, and Zuccarello will get it in, but Chris Russell, first man to it, and he'll pump it down the ice with 20 seconds to go in the Rangers' man advantage.
Good kill by the Flames and some very sloppy neutralized passing by the Rangers.
Derek Brassard goes wide on Paul Byron behind the net. Butler trying to move the puck forward. Backlund is there. Bounces around. Rangers have it. But it comes right back to Chris Butler. Up to Michael Backlund. Tied for second in the National Hockey League with 4 shorthanded goals. But Giordano's out of the box, so this wouldn't be a shorthanded goal, would it? And here come the Rangers. Stralman to Stepan. Ahead to St. Louis. Butler watches him. And Byron back for Calgary. Brody, get it by Stepan. Behind the net, Butler along the boards, cut off. Hagelund's there. Into the middle, now out in front, and what a stop. Stepan robbed by Kari Ramo. And this one shot down the ice.
Well, another sloppy defensive play too by the Flames. And the speed of the Rangers, once they get that turnover, they really have everybody moving towards that net.
On Stralman, and his shot goes wide, and Stajan will pick it up for Calgary. He marches ahead. Here come the Flames, 3-on-2. Hudler back to Stajan, to Glencross, and the pass just behind him. If that had connected, we would have seen that on Connected tonight. That would have been a highlight reel goal. Hagelin watched by Glenn Cross, and both teams making some changes. 9:03 to go in the third period. Calgary up by 1. Here comes Dominic Moore. He goes wide on Brody, dips the shoulder, plays it in front. To the boards goes Stajan, but Dominic Moore wants that puck back. He gets it. Moore, 33-year-old from Thornhill, Ontario. Over to Klein. To Boyle across the line. Boyle holds up, shot goes wide. Diaz is there. Zuccarello working over Wotherspoon. Puck taken away. Backlund ahead. Can't find Boma. Now Zuccarello in his own end. Shots 38-23 in favor of the Rangers. But Calgary getting the go-ahead goal with 8 seconds left in the second period from Camilleri have the lead. There's Brassard. Russell. And to check him. Mission accomplished. Now the puck comes out in front. Richards. Oh, what a spinorama. Looking to pass it off. He's got a stick on it. It's Brassard. Derek Brassard moves, shoots, and no way Kari Ramos saw that. Fortunate for the Flames, the puck went wide.
This line for the Rangers, again, continuing to get some very good opportunity. Because of the skating ability, Moore, Brassard, and even Boyle, a big man, skates so well that they're able to get themselves to the front of net and into scoring opportunities.
Brody back to pick it up. St. Louis watching him. Now over to Giordano. Off the boards and ahead to Yuri Hudler. He'll play it deep in the Rangers' end. Skips over the stick to Mark Stahl. Glenn Cross goes down. Rangers come up with it, but it's skipped on Stepan. He turns, plays it around the boards. Nash is there. His stick breaks. Glenn Cross comes over. Now the Flames gain the line. Giordano offside. Calgary up by a goal as Mark Giordano and the Flames pressing here in the third. So the game is brought to you by Old Dutch Foods. Quality lives here and sharing starts here.
Lots of tiny little battles all over the ice, but two of the guys have been pretty regular. Russell with the Old Dutch crunch of the night on his fellow ex-junior teammate, Dorset. And they've had a battle running all night. And that is our Old Dutch crunch of the game.
Stajan and Richards to face off. Stajan wins it. Brad Richards has been a thorn in the side of the Calgary Flames all game. Stahl to Pouliot. Gains the line. Shoots. Ramo juggled it just a bit. Has it. Tilts to one side.
Intact Insurance is proud to sponsor the Calgary Flames and all the fans who carry a torch for them. Intact Insurance, your back.
I get the distinct impression that Curtis Glencross has had enough of winter because for some reason tonight he's got a big burr under his saddle. Something's under his skin.
Involved right there at the end with Mark Stahl, the defenseman of the Rangers, jumping up into the play. And after the save was made, just a little pushing and shoving. And it's a frustrating time of the year for him. The two injuries, the injury last year and then coming back and playing this year. And of course, with the knee and the ankle, he's not 100% still.
Here's Mike Camilleri stealing the puck around Nash. Oh, what a defensive play by Rick Nash. As Mike Camilleri was in alone in a sharp angled shot. Stopped by Lundqvist. Rangers trying to run a face-off play. Puck came back to the point and Camilleri beating Nash, but give Rick Nash credit. He came back and swept that puck off the stick of Mike Camilleri.
Still some pretty good speed in Mike Camilleri too, because Nash can really fly and he had to dive to make that great play.
What a play by Michael Backlund to take it away from Brassard. Backhander just goes wide. This one to the net and Lundqvist will stop it. And he's going to give it to Girardi.
Simple plays like that, being up by one goal, is going to be the simple plan for the Flames. Keeping that puck 200 feet away from Ramo, making Lundqvist handle that puck. And we get a icing call here against the Rangers. We'll have another look at that good play by Nash. Almost a great play by Camilleri. He was trying to protect the puck. There's that speed, and he holds it off to his left side at that point, and Nash reaches around. Doesn't take a penalty. He's very disciplined. Loses his stick as he makes that swipe. But Nash, the big man, trying to play some defensive style hockey.
Of course, winning gold with Canada at the recent Olympics. Another one of those guys that came out of his role to a certain extent to play a role for Canada. Right now, the Rangers need somebody to play a role if they want to get back into this game.
Your Sportsnet telecast, you can win a week of unlimited luxury at Dreams Resorts and Spas, courtesy of redtag.ca. Shop and swipe your club card at Safeway today, and you can be our next lucky winner.
Time now for our game review, brought to you by Intact Insurance. Your home, your auto, your business. Ask your broker about Intact Insurance Company.
Pretty good first period by the Flames, but a very good, strong start to the second period. Rangers scored 3 in 3:27.
5:45 to go in the third. Rangers have won 5 in a row, looking to win 6 in a row for the first time since 2005. Here's Richards. Turns. He'll hammer this one in. Russell along the boards, tipping it ahead. Diaz has the stick slashed out of his hands by Hudler, and that opens up the point slot. And the Flames able to get the puck out.
You just have to be very careful. You want to be thinking defense at this time. You want to make sure you're on the right side of the puck, but you don't want to be the point where you're all falling back and not moving your feet and protecting the lead. You still have to try and make sure you get a good offensive opportunity going.
Brodie comes over to tie up St. Louis. And the veteran gets it to step on to Nash. Calgary come away with it. There's Michael Backlund. 3-on-2. His pass goes off the stick. Flames are offside. Michael Backlund talking this morning about how much fun it is to play against a fellow countryman, but a hero like Henrik Lundqvist.
Always good to see heroes, and of course, why wouldn't you? If you look at the type of quality, not only everybody thinks of Lundqvist or players like that as far as what they do on the ice, it's what these guys do off the ice and what kind of leadership they are in their own country, and that's something that you see a lot of the players looking up to quality role models like Henrik Lundqvist.
Lundqvist leading Sweden to a silver medal at the Olympics. Giordano. And it's picked up by Brodie. He turns away from traffic. Back to Mark Giordano. Byron tipping it in. Strawman is back. And this is an icing call, I believe. It is coming all the way back, and it gives us an opportunity to go to Roger Millions.
All right, Rob, the Calgary Roughnecks return to Saddle Dome tomorrow night. They'll play the Minnesota Swarm. The party starts inside Dutton's Lounge at 5 p.m. With the ball dropping at 7. For tickets, visit CalgaryRoughnecks.com.
So the face-off of the Rangers in the Calgary end. 4:27 to go here in the third period. And again, some jostling on the face-off. It's been one of the best parts about the new schedule this season, seeing every team twice. A little bit more animosity in these games. Nash again at the point, and that play broken up by Brodie at the side of the net. Nash back to pick it up. Here comes Rick Nash, rumbling across the red line. Gains ahead of steam, trying to cut to the net, and that goes wide, and Backlund ready to pick it up. Nash, though, back checking. Do manage to get it out. Boma and Stahl go to the boards. Backlund comes in. Stahl's down, and the puck just out of the range of the Flames. Mike Camilleri hustling to get it back to Chris Russell. Puck comes free. Backlund is there. Ahead to Boma. Already tried to catch a piece of him, but that's another icing call. And the Flames got a face-off coming up in their own end. And remember, they burned their timeout in the second period.
A couple tired players for sure out there right now. Giordano trying to delay it, and that's what the things was. He just the stick, the skates. Mike Camilleri coming back pretty slow, and that just gives him a couple extra seconds.
Michael Backlund now.
What? Strap on.
Oh, no.
Protective boot. Yeah, we got to get that fixed.
Well, hurry up, please. Yeah.
No, I think, well, it's a broken strap.
That's.
How long do you think this is going to take?
No. This will be quick. You can fix this. Oh, no, they're going to have to replace it. And the referee coming over, and Mike Lago saying, you know what, you can play without it for this shift.
No, I can't play without that. That's what happens when I have to block a shot and if I get hurt.
Tom Hartley. All right. So the Flames buy themselves a little bit of time. Rangers win the draw, though. Hagelin trying to wrap it around. Backlund pokes it ahead to Boma, but Hagelin's right there. Puck given away in the corner. Richards comes out, shoots, stopped by Ramo. Puck's free and rolling around. Calgary get it to the line. Will they get it out? Yes, they do. They dodge a bullet. It's about the third or fourth time the Flames have had a really bad giveaway in their own end. Zuccarello holds up. Just over 3 minutes to go as Richards turns. To get it back to Zuccarello. Glenn Cross reaching out, knocking that puck away. Richards gets it back. Here comes Zuccarello. Dishes it to the corner by Boyle. Boyle trying to work around Brody, can't. Glenn Cross picks it up. And they just flick it out to the red line. Calgary making a few changes up front. There's more. A goal in that 3-1 win over Philadelphia on Wednesday. It's blocked off. And again, Rangers able to keep it in. Diaz shot. Goes wide of the net. Zuccarello picks it up. Giordano working on him. Puck comes out in front, and Colborne able to free it and clear it. 2:20 to go in period number 3. The Rangers down by 1.
Simple game plan for the Flames in the last couple of minutes. Get that puck out of the defensive zone.
And a penalty coming up. And it's going to be against Marty St. Louis as he reached in and grabbed on Mark Giordano. And the newest member of the New York Rangers does not look pleased.
Not happy about that. Mark Giordano with some very good positioning at that point, and St. Louis trying to look at, wait a minute, he's interfering with me, but it's all about positioning. And Mark Giordano had the body position at that point, so the frustration continues for Marty St. Louis.
Calgary Flames did score on their lone power play in the first period. They're 1 for 1 tonight. Joe Colborne, his 10th of the year, first career power play goal. With 2:08 to go, a little bit more of a defensive power play.
Defensive, but they still want to try and get another goal.
Monahan at the side of the net, forced to the boards.
The Rangers very quickly can score short-handed goals. In fact, they've scored 4 recently, and they put the likes of Nash out there killing penalties. It can be very dangerous.
That goes into the corner. Off the top of my head, I believe Rick Nash is the last player to score a shorthanded goal down by 2 players against the Calgary Flames. He's a member of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Scored a shorthanded goal while the Flames had a 5-on-3. Comes back, Brody at the point, loads up, nope, Giordano. Giordano now looking for a lane to the net. Lundqvist with the save, Backlund chopping at it. He's knocked to the ice by Girardi. 1:22 to go in the third. 1:15 to go in the power play for Calgary.
Patient power play will have opportunities to score because you know the Rangers penalty killers have to gamble. So that's what happens here. The Flames trying to find that perfect play. They try to get at the net. Michael Backlund stays right. It pays the price from Girardi at that point, but that's what you do. That's the cost of scoring goals in those high traffic areas. You know you're going to get hit.
Calgary Flames have given up 40 shots. As the Rangers out shooting Calgary 40-27 in this hockey game. Flames up by a goal on the power play. Shot in, Lundqvist makes the save.
1:16 to go, and pretty much finished the whole game on the power play. If it lasts to the end, puck gets out, the Flames will probably end up looking at an empty net as Lundqvist would want to get out to try at least get a 5th man out there for the Rangers. But much better to spend the last minute 9 seconds in the offensive zone.
Mark Stahl, watched by a couple of Flames, plays it off the boards, and it comes out to step on. He gains the offensive zone. Lundqvist to the bench for the extra attacker. Rangers now have 5 skaters. That one just dribbles wide. Giordano comes over. Strawman behind the net. Nash, less than a minute to go here in the third. Step on. Feels some pressure. Side of the net. Kari Ramo will hang on to it.
There's that offensive push that we'd expect the Rangers to do. They win the face-off. They send both forwards right out to the neutral ice area. Bounce pass, and then everybody moving up the ice. And that allowed enough time for Lundqvist to get off the ice and the Rangers to get a second player, or I should say a 5th player out there. They call their timeout now to try and get set plays up. Here it is off the face-off. Nash right in the middle of your screen. He's going right out. He brings 2 defensemen with him, and that opens up the whole offensive zone for that bank pass. And now all of a sudden everybody's off to the races. They gain possession of the blue line, step on at that point, and there's some pretty good opportunities after that, now that it's basically a 5-on-5 until the Flames can get possession of that puck.
Rick Nash leads the New York Rangers with 23 goals on this season as Alain Vigneault looks on.
The biggest difference, I started the story earlier, what they really like about the Rangers and Alain Vigneault is that they're not blocking as many shots as Tortorella wanted to do last year. They're still playing tight defensive hockey, but he's given the defenseman a green light to go up ice, much like the Flames, Brody, Giordano, even Butler jumping up the ice, because that's a big part of the offense, and it really has helped out their offensive game with the New York Rangers.
Calgary with 37 seconds left on their power play. Net empty for the Rangers, so they are skating 5-on-5. Face-off becomes ever so important. Michael Backlund to take it against Stepan. Flames win it. Brody along the boards. Boma gets it out. This could be an icing call against Calgary. Matter of fact, that's exactly what it is. So with 36.7 seconds, this is coming back into the Flames' end.
That's a tough break there. And when we talked earlier with Lance Boma, and I'm just going to pick a look at him, but this is a good example. You keep your feet moving. You're going to get that puck out of the defensive zone instead of just making the simple play of just chipping it off the wall. Because if you're moving your feet, you're going to make sure right there, if he takes one stride with that puck, it forces the defenseman to come right at him. Then he can make a pretty good chip off the wall.
Stepan comes up with a puck. His pass back, and Girardi couldn't handle it. 30 seconds to go in the period. Late in period number 3. Flames still 15 seconds on the power play with the net empty. It's 5-on-5 hockey. Stepan shot wide of the net. Camilleri comes over. He slows down and gets it out. Gets a little help. Backlund to Boma. It's turned back. Camilleri has it. 8 seconds to go. Penalized player St. Louis back out on the ice. Long shot. And Ramo has it. Around the boards it goes. And for the 31st time this year, the Calgary Flames win 4-3 over the New York Rangers.
What do you know? Another one-goal game. The Flames tie their record of 45 one-goal games, but this one's special. It's a victory. It's against the Rangers. They were able to come back from a one-goal deficit loss to Anaheim, and they go on the road trip feeling pretty good about themselves.
And able to overcome a shaky second period, which saw them give up 3 goals to the Rangers in 3 minutes and 27 seconds. They fell behind 3-2, but a late push and a late goal in the second by Mike Camilleri stands up as the winner. And again, for a team that's not going to the playoffs, Charlie, we talk about process and we talk about growth. We saw a little bit of it in this game.
And the fans appreciate it as they give their salute to the fans. And again, Bob Hartley talked about, we're not fooling anybody with, okay, these are miniature playoff games. This is something for the players to learn how to be successful, how to learn how to win. Because if we saw tonight, it's hard to win in the National Hockey League.
Well, they got contributions from everybody. As you see Tyler Wotherspoon going off the ice. They lost Ladislav Schmid in the first period. They played with 5 defensemen. Kevin Westgarth scores in this game, so the fourth line contributed. But arguably, perhaps the biggest contributor to this victory, number 31, Kari Ramo, who made 38 saves on the night with one of his finest performances as a member of the Flames.
Key saves, too, in the second period and in the third.
Well, you go downstairs and join our Roger Millions.
All right, Rob, thanks very much. 45 one-goal games for your hockey club. You as a defender, that puts the pressure on you each and every night, yet you found a way. This is the 31st win. Just playing in one-goal games, how have you guys been as successful as you have with the pressure on like that?
I think early in the year we really struggled, and we found a way to win games, and we found a way to win these tight ones. We know that it might take just a chip and chase game the entire third period in order to be successful, and we've got the guys that are committed to doing that. So I think it shows a little bit about the character we have in the room.
Now, Chris, I know your dad was a pretty good athlete. I know your mom was a pretty good athlete, but did either of them play soccer and give you any helping hand on the kick assist you had tonight with Mike Camilleri?
It was a pretty lucky play. Kind of went to step up on the puck and it took a big hop, and I knew I probably wasn't going to get it with my stick, so I tried to use my foot, and Cammy did a great job kind of crowning it and finished it. It was a nice play.
Indeed. Now, this game turned into a bit of a circus after they scored 3 in a row. How did you get it back your way? What did you guys do as a group?
I think for a while there we spent a lot of time in our zone, and when we were tired, we need to simplify things. We need to get the puck out of the zone. We turned too many pucks over, and once we kind of got our legs underneath us there for whatever reason we were kind of watching, we started skating, started supporting each other, and got the puck out of our zone. Didn't spend so much time in there.
5 games and 9 days on the road. Looking forward to it?
Should be fun.
Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, Chris Butler with an assist on Mike Camilleri's tally in this one tonight, and certainly had quite an evening, as the defenders, like Rob and Charlie, you were saying, 45 one-goal games. Those guys on the blue line under a lot of pressure each and every night when they play on this club.
They are, Roger, and this one almost had the feel of 3 different games, didn't it, Charlie? A 2-0 lead after the first period for Calgary. But early in the third, something just wasn't right for the Flames. Something was very right for the New York Rangers.
I think you could see it in the first period where the Rangers were really pushing and getting some opportunities. Yes, the Flames were up by 2, but they were getting badly outplayed in their defensive zone. Kari Ramo was very big between the pipes. It was a 2-0 lead, and as it started into the second period, it was 2-1 all of a sudden, and then the Rangers started to really make things happen as Boyle had the goal to get it to 2-1. Right here off the post, gets his own rebound and makes it 2-1 at that point. And then an OC look, a couple deflections, unfortunately for the Flames, it went off Witherspoon. Diaz gets the goal, and this is just a beauty as Brad Richards gets his 16th of the year. All of a sudden 2-0 is 3-2. Time for a timeout. Let's get things restructured here. Let's try to slow things down, and it was a very difficult second period, but the Flames continued to pound away, and it was up to the energy line. For both teams played very well, and for Kevin Grescar, his 3rd of the season, a career high for him, and that got the Flames tied up, and just an innocent type of play. Butler gives a little bit of a boot to Camilleri, and Henrik Lundqvist would love to have that one back, but there's the old saying, it's never a bad shot to shoot the puck at the net. And this was just a handful of seconds left in that second period. Much better defensive team by the Flames in the third period. The Rangers did have some good opportunities, so the Flames, but it boiled down to the 45th one-goal game of the season for the Rangers.
Well, we know how good things are going for Mike Camilleri right now. That's his 7th game winner. Things are not going so well for Marty St. Louis. Now, all of the news leading up to the trade deadline, he gets moved. It's captain for captain as Callahan goes to Tampa Bay. Charlie, this was his 13th game, I believe, for the Rangers. Still looking for his first goal as a Ranger. He looked frustrated.
It's frustrating. It's got to start getting to him right now. Yes, just the 3 assists so far with the Rangers. Thought he had his first one here. It went upstairs to review, but it was a kicking motion with the right skate. Was the text from the league, and so that didn't count. He was down low. He had some very good looks at some pucks where he normally is. He's on his off wing like Mike Camilleri, gets himself into position, took a penalty late in the game. That didn't help at all, and right here, another big save by Kari Ramo on Marty St. Louis, and he is shaking his head. Now, let's be honest. He's going to come to life pretty soon. The Flames are lucky it wasn't here tonight, but it's going to be a situation for the Rangers that he just has to find that one goal. It could be a lucky goal. It could go off about 5 or 6 different players. This is the penalty with just over 2 minutes to go in the game, which really frustrated him. But I think this road trip will be the time for him to get things turned around because he's getting the looks, he's getting the opportunities. Sooner or later, he'll get the goals.
So the Calgary Flames finish off a 3-game homestand with a 4-3 victory over the New York Rangers. They now head out for 5 in the Eastern Conference starting on Sunday, in Ottawa.